Hey, you probably waiting for some music. I could hum, but you probably wouldn't want that. So, who'd you talk to? What's going on? It's me, Mike Leopard King, Michael. This is Legit Paranormal 101, brought to you by legitpodcast.com. It is December 7th, 2023. I already did it earlier for the math geeks. It's 4 and 4 on either side. Joining me as always is Sarah Parah Normal. What's up, Sarah?
What's up, dude? Long time no see.
No
I think I
kidding.
say that to you at the beginning of every 101. Like, I can't think of anything better to say than long time no see.
I don't even know what to say after that last show. That was like, I'm being honest when I say that, like, if she followed that through, all of it,
Oh, it'd be so good.
it's very catchy. I mean, in that Andy Kaufman sort of way. Like, it's just there's
Yeah.
something about it, you know? So, we have a guest tonight?
Yeah. So I don't think I ever told you, but I actually got interested in witchcraft while I was attending a Strange Escapes. And I heard a paranormal investigator who is a witch speak. Her name is Dana Newkirk. And that kind of got me interested in witchcraft. So now that we're doing Paranormal 101, I'm like, well, maybe this might be something that is helpful to other paranormal investigators because I have started to incorporate it into my own investigation. So I wanted to bring on the expert that we just so happen to have as a host, Sarah G. Witch MD. There she is.
Hello.
Hi, pretty.
Hi.
Who's that?
Sorry.
This-
Familiar. It's one of my
I can't wait to
familiars.
ask questions. I can't wait to ask you questions. So
I can't wait to answer them.
So it was a witch, right? My earliest thoughts of that was of a girl who would try to take a piece of your hair, wrap it in aluminum foil, and throw it in the stream down near my house. That's what is that? How true is that?
Well, it can be very true, not to throw it in a stream. Although, if we think of elements and we also think of pieces of ourselves, right? Something as innocuous as a fingernail, a strand of hair, anything like that, that is an extension of ourselves without it being hurtful.
It's
Also,
DNA.
there are other, yeah, it's DNA, right? But without the help of microscopes or anything like that, it's kind of a piece of you. So if you're trying to set an intention in some kind of way when it comes to another person, you can even use your own bodily things. Hair, fingernails. Some people use their blood, their sweat, their tears, other things. But it's just an extension of you, or it's
What's
an
aluminum
extension of
foil?
that person.
Yeah, aluminum foil though. What's that for? Why
I think aluminum foil is just to kind of protect it in a way. Also, if we look at mirrors are reflective. So if you are using aluminum foil, it's sort of like to reflect. If you know anything about feng shui, right? Like you put a mirror in a certain place, and it's supposed to, deflect the energy or reflect that energy. Aluminum foil or a mirror is going to do the same thing.
But let me ask. Can I ask?
You're good.
Wouldn't Sarah? Would you consider it manipulative to do a type of magic to set an intention that would cause someone else to fall in love or manipulate them in some way? Is that something you believe in, or is that taboo?
Well, I think that it depends on the witch. It depends on what that person believes in.
They would never tell you.
Excuse me.
Sorry.
There are many people who will do something for an intention of another person falling in love or another person to, some people would refer to it as hexing or, to have something happen to that other person. There are many people in my ideal or my kind of place that we don't want that to happen. So the intention that we set is always for the good, right? So there's a fine line. I'm not hexing somebody, but if I want to protect myself from that negative energy, that's something that's a little bit different spin. I don't want anything bad to happen to that other person, but I want to protect myself or a loved one or a situation from that negative persona or energy. So that's when we would do something like that. But to harm somebody, force anybody to fall in love with anybody, I mean, you saw Aladdin. Genies can't do that.
Yeah.
So, excuse me. So it's that kind of premise. If you're doing it for the purpose of taking care of yourself, then you're okay.
We're making you totally lose your voice.
We are making her lose her voice.
That's okay. That's all right. I got water. Agua. Look at it's the witch's brew.
Oh, that's so cute. We got to get her an Atkins tumbler.
Yes.
Can we go over one thing though? So
Yeah.
Sarah, you actually said that mirrors are reflective.
Mm-hmm.
That's yeah, we knew that. I don't know.
You did.
That was weird. Yeah, you were like mirrors are reflective. I'm like, that's pretty.
She meant in both a literal and in the
Mhm.
reflection
I'm
of.
trying to give her. I'm trying to give her a hard time. That's what I'm trying to do.
Okay, and also, can you please use initials, because just saying Sarah in this instance is not going to work.
All right,
That's true.
Gene P.
GMP.
Word.
Okay.
So wait a minute. So, Sarah G.
Yes.
What now? Here's where I get weirded with the witch community. Not that I don't know if is there a witch community? Probably is.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's what I would say.
Mhm.
I don't like when like I like someone who thinks they were a witch their whole life, right? As opposed to people that like later on more latch onto it, or later on will start to say like, "Oh yeah, you know what happened when I was younger," and it's not like all this stuff comes out. In other words, what I'm trying to say is there's got to be fake witches. There's got to be people that want to be a witch so goddamn bad that they're willing to say, "Yeah, this happened, that happened. I'm a witch," because that's like, right? You do that.
Well, yes, and I think that we are born, and so if we're going to look at kind of like the highest level of this, we are all born with some sort of ability. Whether or not we tap into it, whether or not that we trust it, is another thing. So to consider yourself within this group of being a witch or studying witchcraft or even looking into the metaphysical, it is a born, like we're born into it. But much like what you study or your religion or what, if you play an instrument or anything like that, you may have always had an affinity to it, but whether or not you really trust that affinity and continue to let that, learn from it, let it grow, kind of that situation, and that's okay. But you're right in saying there are a lot of people out there who will say it's the aesthetic that they like, or it's the
Right.
ideal that they like. They don't actually practice it. So,
Right.
yeah, there are posers, I'm going
but
90s here, and I'm gonna say that there are posers out there.
I gotta argue with Mike in the fact that you said, I like someone who's been a witch their whole life, as if people don't change things like their religion and their points of views like throughout our life as we go. Like we might not have grown up in an area where that was accepted. I don't know if I told you guys the story, but when I was young and I had started to find my own way, like what my own beliefs. I was 16. I had my books on Wicca and witchcraft.
Mhm.
And I had lent them to a friend because she said she was interested. And lo and behold, the Catholic Church shows up at my house. So I was kind of pushed away from that.
Mhm.
I went to an all-girls Catholic school, and then you find things back as you grow, and you're like, you know what? I'm a grown person. I can do what I want.
Mhm.
Maybe it takes you years to not care what other people think, because there is still stigma attached to this.
so
Right.
listen, I deal
Mhm.
in the world of words. So here's what I want to ask you guys. I didn't say this is correct. What is correct? I said what I like. Right? Then I say what I like. Like I like. Then I say that. I don't think I said what is correct. All right. Secondly,
Yes.
I have a hard time with everyone can be paranormal, or everyone has some of that in them. It's impossible because I've met some people. I've met a lot of people in my life.
Mhm.
I've seen a lot of people. Some people, it's just not possible. And that's what killed me the most. Because when you say, let me tell you something, when someone says everybody has something in them, I get what they're saying, but
Mhm.
they also have to understand that there's so many people that just their brains will never figure anything out like that. They just don't get so they're not all, and they couldn't do anything when it comes to that stuff. They have no connection. They're just void of that. They enjoy coming home, TV dinner, down in the basement. Think about like, you know what I mean? Like, should I get a new haircut? Should I get something? That's it. That's it. That's all
Mhm.
they do. So I don't do you really think everyone? Because saying that is
Yes.
like it almost makes it magic. Now we're talking like magic.
Yes. Everybody has an ability of some sorts. Oh, hello. Everybody has an ability of some sorts. So what I mean by that is that it's called intuition, right? Whether we trust what we're kind of what path we're on and where we're going and where we're headed, right? That's intuition. Whether or not you decide that you just want to do your 9 to 5, go home, drink your Bud Heavies and smoke your Marlboro Reds, then that's fine too. You're not looking outside of your box. You're just going to continue to do what you think is normal without trusting something new. And the whole idea of intuition is that we're guided in a certain force or a certain kind of path that's in front of us, that we're okay with that, right? And we trust it. That's the thing. And we trust ourselves. So when I say that we're all born with it or we all have it, we have some ability. It's whether or not we decide to kind of go forward with that and use it. If you don't, hey, no harm, no foul. You're not using it. So you don't have to. And so that intuition is like a muscle. I tell people all the time, the more that you use it and the more that you trust it, the better you get at pinpointing what it means to you. So if you're like, okay, I want to do this in my life, it's not the right time. I want to write a book, right? It's not the right time, but you start, I know I'm going to do it. I know eventually I've got things in my head. Okay, now I'm starting to write things down. You might not get published, but that intuition is telling you to keep going instead of F this, I don't care. I'm never going to be published. You're getting it out of you. You're trusting that gut feeling that it's supposed to happen.
Right.
I don't know what's going on.
I don't. So, again,
With
I
my
guess
voice.
what my issue is that I just don't. I can't get over that everyone's born with something, because it's like saying everyone can jump. Let's use that for an example. I can jump. You guys can jump. I know people can jump and dunk a basketball. That jumping is completely different than what we might do. So everyone can jump, but not many people can dunk a ball or get up that high. And you don't go around bragging because you got a 1-inch vertical. Oh, I get an inch off the ground. Look at me. I can jump. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
Like, I feel like there's people that are jumping an inch and barely touching the net.
Right.
And,
But
and
we
they're
all,
claiming they're dunking.
so to kind of clarify, we all have faith, right? So we're kind of born with this idea of faith when it comes to, we trust our parents. As an infant, you are the most innocent being. You're the most innocent being that you could possibly be, right? So you have that faith that somebody's going to take care of you. Otherwise, you will die. So we're born with that ability to trust beyond what we know to happen, even as an infant. So when I say that we're born with this ability, it's like we're born with the ability to, people might not be able to jump. They might not be able to walk. They might not be able to see. But for whatever reason, there is a drive within us. There's a faith base. There's an intuition that everybody has, whether or not they have all their chromosomes or they don't. We have that trust that that's going to happen to us. We're going to grow up. We're brought forth into this earth to hopefully, or on this plane, I should say, to hopefully continue our process and grow. And so
let me
just go ahead.
Sorry, Sarah. Let me just interject there too, because I agree with what Sarah's saying, but then also, I get the journals of parapsychology and all of that. And there is research that is being done, psychical research, that is almost pinpointing where in the brain the third eye is. So if you want to take it literally, so if the third eye, where that originates from, is actually something that is at least partially physical in our brain, then we are all born with that. And I think that some people's third eye gets awakened by choice, and then they work at it. And some of us, our third eye is awakened by trauma, extreme trauma. And I think it's just that part stays asleep for some people for longer.
It's true.
Just like you're using sports references, Mike, some people are going to be more naturally attuned to it, either because of the way they're born or circumstances that happen to them throughout their life. And that's just, and the witchcraft, that's to me, it's an aid to that which is already within me. And so you don't really need to, I don't know how to say this. People are clung on to the aesthetic. Yes. And there are also some witches who go much deeper into practice than others. Some of us just do very simple things around their house. Like I have my areas set up. And I might just be present for a little while. I've started incorporating it mostly in my paranormal practice. So I want to make sure I can ask her about that before we're
of course.
done. But I mean, so yeah, it might actually be something physically that we are born with, at least partially.
Right. So having
I
that little bit
good.
of trust in the sense of what that's all, it all goes hand in hand. Third eye trust. There's no right, wrong answer. And I'm sure that people who have, studied more so as to what the physical things are, or that, that physiological, or whatever you say, physiological property of it. Yes, absolutely. But witchcraft, and what its meaning is, it is sort of like a lifestyle, and it is trusting everything and nothing all at the same time. So, we are taught to believe in something, whether or not you go to Sunday school or catechism, or if you go to temple, whatever you're doing, we have this way that we're learning about what's up there, what's going on in the universe. And for
Right.
witches, especially eclectic witches like me, is that I believe in all of it. It all has a place. You know what I mean? There's no good, bad, right, wrong, or indifferent, but there are people who really stick to, like, Wicca is a religion. They stick to
Yeah.
that earth-based kind of, but there are the people who believe that there are things that you could do as an intention that will guide you, help you move things forward. You spell work, it making a wish, that kind of a thing. Like, it's what we believe in. Luck, superstition, it's all part of it.
Okay,
Okay.
so with sorry, Mike. With
No,
intention, then, say your intention is to communicate with spirits. Can you maybe give me an example of like how, and have you been on a paranormal investigation? Sorry, I just asked 2 questions.
No, yes, I have. I've done many of them. And and I'm also a medium, not only a witch. So, for me, it's, with people who are doing investigations, they're looking for proof of, in a science, in a perfect world, they're looking for scientific proof, whether it's with all of the tools that we utilize. I don't need that, which is okay, but my idea of being a medium and being there is that I'm communicating to make sure that the people who are there, that the spirit who's there, or anybody who is present, what entity is there, that they're being respected.
Right.
So, yes, I've been on paranormal investigations, but when you are connecting with spirit, or you're connecting to another plane, whether that is your guided, any sort of ascended masters, or your spirit guides, or anything like that, you're setting an intention that it's for the highest and best, right?
Right.
I only want to hear good stuff. I only want you to bathe me in light. I only want, in a good way. Don't give me the crap. Like, protect me, take care of me, give me good stuff, so that I can continue to push that good stuff forward in my life, and I can continue to spread that. It's like spreading kindness, right? I want the light. I want you to surround me with protection. So when you set that intention of connecting with the other side, or for me as a medium, and what I'm doing with my own clients is I am saying, give me some information that will resonate with that client, so they get some clarity. It's not about negativity, it's about clarity. Even if it is a negative message per se, it's giving that person clarity that their loved one is still around,
Right.
right? But with with an investigation, we're not looking for clarity for our own peace of mind. We're looking for clarity because we're looking for existence of something on another plane, which
Right.
I know is there, but somebody who is looking for, EVPs and using a REM pod and, a spirit box and all the things, like, we're looking for actual physical documentation that it's there. So, if you do everything with respect and intent when it comes to crossing, or talking to people on the other side, you don't cross them over, you don't, that kind of thing. Like, we're there to visit. It's like a museum. We want to see, we want to know the story. And that's what we try to do within that. That makes sense.
all right. So I understand all the positivity, right? And I am the curmudgeon of this channel. Here's my issue. So I got to always give you what the bad side of it would be. So when it comes to a witch or a medium, right? The loudest person usually gets to go to more things. They're just loud in their presentation, right? And I get no, wait, but I get the fear that there are
You just
times
see in the
where
background, like,
the attention
ahead.
is more impressive. Like they want attention. Who like some people just want to be the ones that say what happened there, and yeah, that's what I said it. I was. Oh, if you're watching the video, please like and subscribe. Legit podcast, DOTCOM on all social media. You know what I'm trying to say? Like I'm not calling anyone out because I'm not saying I even met someone like that. But what I'm saying is that's like, in other words, we're taking your word for it. That's the one where we just go, oh, okay, right? You have to like listen to somebody and believe them. Now, some people think they're never going to get it wrong. That's where again, every time someone says no one's going to get something wrong, I jet. On any situation where someone goes, oh, it never fail. It's like, oh yeah, that's just ruined it. It's going to fail. So.
Right. Now Murphy's Law is going to come into effect. But I feel like what you said about the positivity, the love and light, right? It's not positivity. It's highest and best. Okay. There's a difference there. We can't see good stuff, or we can't be the best version of ourselves unless we go through some garbage, unless we see that dark side. In my world, in the witchcraft world, we call that shadow work, right? Whether that's therapy, whether that's, battling your demons, whether that's being sober, whatever it looks like to you, it's totally different for every person. But we have to go through the muck and the mire to get to the other side of that. So with the good, there's also bad. Like, for instance, I was talking to a client today, and we were talking about relationships, and she's like, well, I wish I'd never met him. And I'm like, well, if you never met that guy, or you never met that persona, like, you wouldn't know what not to look for. So as screwed up as it was that you went through all of this with that person, you had to witness that. You had to be part of that negativity or that darkness to come out on the other side. So when I say highest and best, it's giving you the notion that, yes, we all have stuff that's going to pull us down, but we want to try to ascend in a certain way. So it will be, I want the best version of myself today, right now at this moment. When you go into an investigation, Sarah, and I'm sure that you've done this, that the attitude in the room or the air in the room is so negative because people are not looking at, I want the highest and best version, or can you give me some, you have to be respectful, and you have to be respectful of yourself as well. So it's not like all love and light and we're all going to be great and this is going to be perfect. Sometimes negativity is part of it. And that's why you will get out, or you'll get that ominous feeling that somebody's watching you, because you're not coming to it with the whole idea of, I don't want to be scared. I want you to tell me your story.
Exactly.
Thank you. I don't ever see.
It's like, I sometimes feel like ghost therapist, just because it's the opportunity to let someone be heard that may have been waiting a long time to be heard.
Exactly.
And that might be a negative or a positive thing, but in the end, it's a positive thing because we're giving a soul a chance to speak their piece. And I don't know what repercussion that has for them going forward. Maybe it helps, maybe it does nothing. But, from what I've seen, we have the same emotions and feelings on the other side that we have here.
We do.
And if somebody has something to say, I think it's a great service to be able to give that to them and listen to them. And the fact that you can do that without any of the other things that some of us need is wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. And there are definitely paranormal investigators that just want the scariest thing to happen possible.
They want the shock value. Yeah, they want the shock value. I just did an investigation at the Conjuring House. I helped a buddy of mine who's a guide there. And we were talking about different things, and to open people's minds when it comes to investigations and kind of putting things together in the sense of a mediumship standpoint or that metaphysical standpoint, it's the idea that the entities on the other side, or whoever is trying to get in touch with you, spirit, is really just trying to change your normalcy. That's why you are hearing voices. That's why you are feeling somebody touch you, or a temperature change, or you feel like the eyes are on you, or you hear knocking or footsteps or a ball, whatever it is. They're trying to change your normalcy. It's the same premise as if you look at a clock every day at 11:11. Or you look at I live in Rhode Island. Mike can attest to this. We look at license plates all the time, and we see numbers all the time. Those numbers resonate. It's supposed to change your normalcy. It's supposed to give you a little bit of, hey, I'm here, hey, we're right here. It's the idea of affirmation. So when people look at that, when it comes to an investigation kind of persona, or what they're looking for, it's to
Mhm.
change the normalcy. Yeah, you're going to feel like you're getting touched. Yeah, you're going to feel like somebody's whispering in your ear or rubbing your shoulder or pulling your hair. They're changing your normalcy. They're not trying to scare the shit out of you,
Oh,
even
okay.
though some people it does.
Some
Okay.
people it does.
So
Mhm.
first off, hearing something may also be something else. If you're hearing things, that's might not be 100% paranormal. That could be, they may be having mental issues where they're hearing things. So one, as I wrote down.
That's
Two,
different.
two, I wrote down why do you assume that Rhode Island is all look at license plates?
Oh, come on now. We know that license plates are a thing up here.
Yeah,
License plates everywhere else are not a thing.
yeah.
So,
I look at them all the
digits,
time.
yeah, and digits well, if you're driving by and some banks will have like the time and the temperature. And if that number means something to you, let's say it's your lucky number or the year you were born or, your grandparents' anniversary, whatever, it's showing you, I'm right here. This is what's up, and this is for you, that kind of a thing. And going back to what we talked about trusting that intuition, everybody would drive by that, 68, drive by, not even pay attention that it's 68 degrees and who gives a crap. And yet that one person looks at that and says, oh, that's the year my parents got married.
Yeah.
And it's like you sometimes you close yourself off, but sometimes you really open up, and it just makes you feel like that was for me today. I needed that today.
Right.
Another quick question. Shadow work. Do we get to punch out?
What do you mean, do you get to punch out?
Like,
Like,
do
do
we
you
get a
get to
chance to get off?
choose?
Yeah, no. Do I get a chance to get off the clock? Like, can I end
Oh,
shadow
that
work?
kind of a work? No, no. Sometimes it goes on for a long time. Sometimes it goes on for a short time. And sometimes it goes on, it stops, and then you think you're good, and then it comes back again.
That's the
So
worst.
it is the worst. But the fact that you recognize it, and again, the whole premise of it is that it's supposed to bring you to the other side of it, right?
Right.
Without the light, without the dark, we can't see the light. Without darkness, we cannot see the stars, is something that I love to say a lot, because you need to be able to kind of be in your own way a little bit to realize that you need to change. Change is always uncomfortable. And so being kind of stagnant and lethargic and not really motivated in certain ways, that's shadow work. You're supposed to be doing something about yourself and changing yourself, which doesn't feel good, right?
But
It's like,
Sarah, I
yeah.
really just wish it wouldn't like hit me when I'm just like the wrong song comes on and I'm in like CVS and I thought I was done with this and all of a sudden it's like
Yep.
Waterworks and CVS.
Yep. But you know what? That's perfectly fine, because you're being kind of, how do I say this? It's like touching you in your heart because you care, because you're working on it. Because if you listen to that song anywhere else and you didn't necessarily care, then you know that you're kind of over it. But some things we have to hold on to. So even if it's moments within our life, or if it's people that are associated with that song or what have you, you're still holding on to it. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with, you know, realizing that you need a change in your life. So
Right.
that's what shadow work looks like. We have to realize that we need it, and we go there.
So what about these shadow work journals that are all over TikTok? Have you seen these?
Yeah.
What do you think
If
about
you're
those?
if they're good, they are good because they force you to do it. If that's, it's sort of like, an advent calendar kind of a thing, right? It forces you to look at the date every single day, or it forces you to do something. It's holding you accountable for something. So within that shadow work premise, if you hold yourself accountable, that's half the battle, right? You're holding yourself accountable for what needs to happen. You're actually journaling what your thoughts are, what your, feelings are, what different things are happening within your life, so that eventually when you feel like you're done with the journal, but you go back to it, you can say, oh, and you've done that. I'm sure we've all done that,
Mm-hmm.
within our lives, that we write something down and then we look at it months, even years later, and you're like, wow, I was in such a different frame of mind here. That's
Yeah,
why it holds you accountable. Yeah.
I'm doing that right now to be like, I'm writing down how I feel every day so that I will not take my ex back. So that in a year, when I look back at this, I'm like, yeah, no, that's where I was,
Right.
and
It's
don't
holding
go
yourself
backwards.
right, and
Yeah.
it's holding yourself accountable for the feelings that you're going through right now, and that's part of it, you
Yep.
know? So, understanding that, and a journal is just gonna be another form of that. A lot of people, find writing things out and writing things down cathartic, so by all means, if you resonate with that, then fantastic.
You know why I hate journals? I tell you why. I never know if the person's writing from like first person, third person, second. Like they just shift. They start talking about themselves, and then they start talking about their feelings. And I hate journals for that sense. I can never keep up with what perspective do you want me to take. Like,
So,
what's going on here?
Sarah, at any point did you think Mike was not going to tell us why?
Oh, no,
Like, I
I
love
knew,
when he does that,
that's
but I'm
why
going to tell you why. It's like, I
well,
know.
that's why I smiled because I was like,
Yeah, go
"Yeah,
ahead. Just
okay,
get it out. Okay.
yep,
I'm
let me tell you
just saying.
why."
Just saying.
Just saying, just
I'm just
saying.
saying they're so like poorly put together. That's all.
Well, I mean, if it's your own perspective, then you're the only one who's supposed to be reading it, really.
Yeah,
A
it's not
journal, a
for anyone
diary,
else.
it's not yeah, it's not for anybody
Mike,
else, it's
whose
supposed to
diaries are you reading?
Oh, everybody's in the house. My wife's, my daughter's.
That is
The dog did
really
one.
intrusive.
The dog did one. I
Yeah.
read that.
Yeah,
No,
Mike
that's
has
really
one.
listen.
intrusive.
You want to hear something that I've always thought?
No.
So,
You're
and
gonna
Sarah,
tell us anyway.
you should get this as an Italian. You don't write anything down. But secondly, you write a diary for it to be read. You're not. You guys are never going to admit to that. Never.
That's
So the
not
idea.
true.
The idea.
That
Oh,
is
yes, it is.
not
Oh,
true.
I
Nope,
haven't
that's
finished.
No.
absolutely false.
Can I finish? Can I finish? I'll do my
You're
Ross
going to
Perot
anyway.
so I can finish.
Okay. Yeah, go for it.
You're writing it with that, not the intent, but the dark side of it is that it could get read. You're writing all your thoughts and feelings, and it's vulnerable. It's not on a piece of paper, and things are meant to be read. It's putting down stuff to me that I don't see how it helps you to go back and go, "Wow, I had a really bad day back then."
Sometimes you
And
don't, though.
No, but it
all right,
helps you recognize thought patterns. It does that.
Mhm.
so recognizing your own thought pattern.
Your own cycles, like my perspective right now, where I'm just so raw in this breakup, as to what my perspective of what right now felt like a year from now might be completely different. And I might need that because I might be like, oh, it wasn't that bad, because luckily our bodies have a way of healing us, and even if we're internally storing pain or mentally have pain, we can forget a lot of it. So,
Of alcohol.
I might. Did you say something about alcohol?
Well, yeah, I was going to say it's called alcohol. That's forgetting,
among other things,
life issues.
allegedly. Yeah,
Good,
I get
allegedly,
that, but allegedly. But
Allegedly. We know nothing about that.
nothing. For myself, who is someone who tends to fall into bad patterns, especially in things like relationships, yeah, I think it's helpful for me to keep those and read them. But no one's supposed to read them for me. Like, I hope I have a really good friend, so when I die, it's going to be like, go to my house and burn all that shit before my kids see it. Like,
So, yeah. But sometimes what
Wait a
people
minute.
do
Wait a
is
minute. Wait. You just said it. You're. God help me. Help me, God. You're saying,
he's not gonna
right?
help you.
You're filling out a. He'll help me. You're filling out a diary, and
yeah,
it's going to be full of stuff that, oh, if you should die, and people read it, oh, that might not be good. So,
yeah.
how is that a plan? Like, you have no control over the next minute, dude. We could all just all three of us. It'd be a podcast first. We could all just drop. You have no idea. So you're leaving behind something that you have to make sure before you die. You're like, oh, wait a minute. Go home in the second drawer, the bureau, it says diary, burn it. It's got Wonder Woman, burn it. That's not good. How does that make sense? Like, no, really, for real, as a regular person,
Right.
why would I keep those? Now, I get with witchcraft and that whole thing, it's things that happen, events, all this stuff. You leave a diary.
We call it a grimoire.
Mm-hmm. It's different.
That would make sense. But
It's
personally,
different.
your own personal experiences, your own real thoughts about people, putting them down on paper.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Change the names. Well, first of all, I changed the names of the people usually.
Of the innocent. Haven't you watched,
Yeah.
what is it, Law and Order?
They'll never
The
know.
names have been changed.
Yes. So I changed the names of the people. So the only person that's going to look bad if anyone finds it is me, and I'm dead. So.
Yeah, but all right. Now we're on this topic. Here's the thing. When parents pass away, right, you find out stuff about your parents that you had no idea. That happens all the time. Both of my parents, when they both passed, oh my God, I didn't know Dad did that. Oh, Mom was doing that. What the like? And I've had friends where they're say their dad died, and then like all of a sudden at the funeral, there's like a couple of women that show up, and it gets weird, and they're paying their last respects, and the family knows who they are, and then you learn more about the story, and it gets crazy, and then like you're handling like what something was hiding their whole life, and it's spinning out of control, and then it just dropped on the kid, and he's got to juggle the whole thing and make sure that Dad looks great. I actually watched a friend go through that, like all the stuff.
I don't think Sarah's going to get to that level.
No, in your
That's what a diary is.
I'll burn your stuff.
Thank you. I definitely have enough to cause some waves in the closet, enough skeletons. However, to be honest, when the kids are old enough, like I'm also a very open book. There's nothing I wouldn't talk about if somebody just asked me. So it's not like I'm expecting anyone to actually keep secrets, but hopefully I have a chance to tell my own story before that, before it comes to that.
When you write something down like that, sometimes it's the intent to release it. So in our world, right, if we write down our feelings about, for instance, you going through a breakup, all the anger, the hurt, the resentment, all of that kind of feeling that you don't want anymore in your life, you burn it, you get rid of it because you release it. I don't want this anymore. I don't want to feel this way anymore. So sometimes, like I say, writing down what you're feeling can be really cathartic, but also that to end it or to release it and let it go is also another process or another, ritual or spell.
So now I agree with you.
I don't want it anymore.
Sarah G, I agree. Sarah G, I agree with you. Everyone should burn their diaries. If anyone listening has had a diary for over like a year, now you should burn it.
Listen, every single one of us has a basic diary. It's this that we carry around with us, that if we were in an accident or dropped dead, and God forbid anyone gets into it and sees your search history, or someone plays a soundbite of it in the middle of a show.
I'll disagree. I'm going to disagree, and I'm going to tell you why. Handwritten stuff is way more personal, and to find something that someone took the time to write out, which is like rare nowadays. Kids don't even write their names. I digress. What I'm saying is that's more personal. That's actually like deeper. If someone writes it down in a diary, I'm just gonna, look, I'll come right out. I represent, like, I have stake in the whole
Lollipop
diaries.
Guild?
No, we're trying to go around the country burning diaries.
The Lollipop Guild.
No, we want to burn them all.
Oh my God.
We do. We want to burn them all. I would burn all.
Burn them all.
Burn the witches. Burn them all.
Burn them all.
So wait a minute. All right. So and on the flip side of this is that, like, I have a rather unique situation where I wrote lyrics when I was 21, 22. Now there's like 3 or 4 different CDs, but like you can tell how old I am by what I'm talking about. And some of the stuff that I talk about on the first CD,
that's how we know, buddy.
CD, I'm like, holy Jesus, that wouldn't fly today. Oh no. Like there's some stuff that I'm like, but you can't judge something out of its time frame. Does that make any sense? Like, in other words, like, how people are starting to get more and more upset about everything? Well, here's my thing. That's cool because there's the thing called progress, and I'm for that. But you can't, like, want to destroy someone who did that 25 years ago, because 25, when you get older, is perspective, right? You look back 25 years, total different world. Like the 90s, like let's just start. Like imagine a time, if you can, kids, where there was no internet, no cell phones.
We were
Right?
there.
We were. What are you talking about? I had a
I'm not talking to you
pager in
guys.
high school.
Not talking to you
I
two.
know.
Anyone
Oh.
that's listening, understand
I'm not
that there
talking
was
to you
no
two.
internet, no cameras, no cell phone. Maybe you had a beeper. Maybe.
And a
You know,
beeper.
someone would type like
Mhm.
hello upside down, some stupid shit like
Yeah.
that. But for the most part, when you left the house to go to the beach, guess what? You were just going to the beach, and you directions, whatever was like that. You made sure you remember. Gas station attendants and convenience store clerks used to be like navigational tools.
Yeah, directions. I remember that. Or we had a map in the car. Or when there was internet, remember you'd print out the map.
Print out and then you're like holding it up, trying to see in the dark.
Yeah, no, it's terrible. And you had like a whole stack of them in your glove box because you were like, oh, if I ever need directions to go to that place, I have it right here. I'm not going to get rid of it.
You'd have to know actually the main routes. And then if your car broke down, because I'm not saying my car ever broke down because I didn't know how to take care of it. But if it did and the engine blew up, you just had to walk.
Look, don't try to get all mechanical.
You know that
can't
little
fix
boat, you
much.
know that little light in the car that looks like a little sailboat, like it's got the squigglies, and then it's what is that thing again?
Nothing.
Uh,
Don't worry
Is
about
it
it. Don't worry.
temperature? Temperature.
No.
Yeah,
temperature.
so it was on in my car for like weeks straight, but I didn't know what it was.
Your car was overheating.
Yeah,
And your
it cracked
engine
the engine.
seized.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
your engine seized.
I called my dad and I said, I don't know what
Can't say I
happened.
ever did that.
No.
Listen,
I was like, I don't know what happened, Dad. The little boat light was on. I didn't think it was a thing. It's like, what?
the problem with printing out the MapQuest type stuff is that it gave every single detail, like turn left, and it would just be like here, and then the next thing would be an arrow there. So when you're driving like a van, say picture a 15-passenger van, if you
Oh
will,
God.
okay, and you're pulling a
picturing it.
U-Haul, a U-Haul box that's got to be about, say, I want to say about 8 to 10 feet high and maybe about 6 feet long. So it's on the trailer. Have you guys ever pulled anything that's on a like a trailer?
Yes, I moved
No.
from New York to Florida with my car pulling
I
a
have
trailer.
not.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried to back up? Because it's one of the freakiest things where you have to go
weird.
the
No, I
opposite way.
refused to back. I refused to back up.
So
I
you have
was
to learn how to
going
go the
straight.
opposite way. Yeah, you've
Yeah.
got to go the opposite way to make the trailer
Yeah,
go
no.
that way. All right. So
No, yeah, I wasn't
my
doing
friend
it.
Paul decides he's going to be the guy driving while we're going to New York City, and we get someone in the front seat going through papers, and don't drink and drive. So we're at that point where he turns the corner in New York City. I don't know if you know this, like this parts where there's cars on this side of the road and cars parked on both sides of the road, and then there's the 2 lanes of traffic, and everybody's like this close. And he comes and has to take a right, and then because the guy reading the paperwork screwed up, he has to take another right with the trail. Dude, it was one of the greatest
Oh my
pieces of driving I've ever
God.
seen in my life. I never like compliment somebody
That
else
is
when they're
probably
driving.
It was nauseous.
He's making us
When
look
he
out
was
the
up,
windows. We're looking out the windows going, ooh, ooh, everybody.
You're
We're
like-
all because we're
you're
like,
like-
he's an inch from everything. Like, ooh, ooh. It's just
Oh,
like, yeah. Anyways, I don't know how we get well with that, but yeah, it's not fun.
You started talking about before the internet. I don't even remember where you were going with
we
that.
were
Oh, before
talking
the internet was
about
a great
writing
time.
things down.
Writing things down. This is a long way. We went a long way from writing things
before the
down.
internet was
Woo!
great. Before the internet was great. Dude, scary stuff was so much scarier. Things that you heard from like maybe like your older brother's friends. That's kind of how Rhode Island worked. Like the clowns in the white van. Oh Christ, I still don't know why people don't make that a big deal, because that's terrifying to me. And it was
what year? What was that? Like what was that? The late 90s, early 2000s?
Yeah, it was the late 90s, early 2000s, and I think there was stuff circling on the internet about that, wasn't there?
So, all right, it happened. It started in the 80s, and it's been an urban legend for a long ass time. It's just been going on and on and on.
I despise clowns.
I heard about this when I was a child, and in the 90s, I was more like an adult. I think I was like 19 or 17, 18. Like I knew about the kids in the clowns in the white van when I was in elementary school. So we're talking mid 80s, literally. So here's the thing: there's 2 things in Rhode Island you had to watch out for: clowns in a white van, and then for some reason, naked people that were supposed to pull up and call you to the car and ask for directions to something. This was
I don't
actually,
remember that.
well, you know why? You weren't at my elementary school where we had a whole meeting. All the
What
kids were in the gym.
elementary school did
Yeah.
you go to?
Wait a minute. Oh, I'll tell you more about it. Wait a second. And they told us all that information, and we're like, "What the fuck?" Like, I'm walking back to like 3rd or 4th grade, thinking, "Clowns are in a white van now. I got to watch out for all white vans." And
Naked.
there's naked people that are gonna ask me for
I feel like
directions.
they just made that was just a myth. They told you guys to just stop you from going with strangers.
So we had a playground where the kids could play. Obviously,
Is that what that?
playground kids can play. Well, if we're gonna talk about how mirrors are reflective, I want to make sure we're on the same. Where kids play.
Fuck you, buddy.
My God. If
I'm
I
gonna keep
could
going.
headbutt
So
you, I would.
here's what they did, right? They
Mhm.
painted a white line down the middle of the whole entire play area. Now, this round, just picture something round like a pie, and they put a line down the middle. There was the girls' side and the boys' side. And during lunch, the boys were not allowed, or girls were not allowed to cross the line. That's
For what reason?
You just weren't allowed to go over and associate. Like,
So they
first recess,
segregated you?
yes. Listen, first recess, third recess was obviously your teacher took you out, and it was your class and maybe the other 5th grade or the 4th grade, something like that on the same schedule. But during lunch, it's the school is out there, right? And they used a white line and would not let the boys hang out with the girls during lunch. You had, and dude, they would stand on the line like this. It would go all the way up, and they'd watch you, and you couldn't go over the line. You got in trouble, and it was like, if you got in trouble, they would yell at you till you cried. I really think the goal back then was make sure that kid cries. Like, that kid what did he do? All right, make sure
I
he cries.
stopped believing this. I stopped believing this story 5 minutes ago. Actually,
100%.
before you started telling it.
It's sort of like dodgeball, when, you know.
100% true. I haven't made
They yelled at you too. That's abuse.
Listen, my 4th grade teacher was a former nun.
Oh yeah, I have one of those.
Dragged me and 2 of my close out in the hallway, and she berated us until we cried.
Oh,
Berated
like
us.
that.
And like, that's how that was run. But again, also, you guys don't understand was back in that day, the older class would beat you guys up because that's what you do at recess. There's no internet. There's nothing to do. Nothing to talk about. Let's go beat up the young kids. Like,
It's never happened at my school.
I got to be honest. Like, this is what blows my mind. I was in a wrestling match at least every day for like 4 or 5 years straight.
Boys are so silly sometimes.
You don't understand what that's like? Like,
no, we never in a wrestling match at recess.
No, girls don't do that. They just don't.
They didn't give us a ball. They didn't give us anything to do during lunch. What else, as a guy, you can't even cross the line and go talk to the girls. At least let them go talk to the girls. No, they've got my friend by the head and banging his head against the metal pole that holds the basketball rim. And you're hearing bong like you're on the gong show. Like, there were times when you go to recess and you walk out the recess, you'd hear the 4th grade class is beating us up at lunch. I'm not joking. You're like, what the Christ? Next thing you know, they beat you up. Or the most awful thing to come out of Rhode Island is the pig pile. Now, this happened every day, and if you didn't go in, they'd beat you up worse. So this is how it worked. All the kids are standing around. One of the big kids finds some little kid, trips him, falls on him, and yells out the famous words, "Pig pile," to which every kid jumps on the pile. If you are caught not jumping on the pile, the older kids
would get thrown on the pile.
Hell yeah. So you'd have to like fake dive and just kind of go to the side because you don't want to be involved.
So you wouldn't get hurt, or you wouldn't get your face smashed. Yeah.
Dude, that happened every morning from 1st to 3rd grade because down where I was, it was a pig pile every day. And that's what life was. Like, and some kids back in the day were heavy. Like husky. They called them back in the day. Husky.
Yeah.
So
this is special.
husky kids would jump on us. See, I'm
We went like
We stopped talking about anything paranormal 20 minutes ago.
yeah,
Oh,
but
I
there's
know
3
it.
people listening to us now. Maybe
That's
they
true.
maybe they
But
enjoy
like
Big-Child.
this has just been Mike's version of I had to walk uphill both ways to go to school.
With
That's
no
what this
shoes
whole
on.
thing with
Yeah.
no shoes on in the
Do
snow.
you
This
understand
is
what
like what my grandparents used to do.
See, you know why this is scary now? Is because you're younger than me, but it's not like you're 30 years younger than me.
No, I'm not
And
that
you
much
can't
younger
even
than you.
believe that this is true. I haven't made
I know
one
it's
part
true.
See, that's the thing. I have made one part of this up. Not a single
Okay,
nook of
I
it was
just went to small Catholic schools my entire life. So maybe I was sheltered a tad bit at
You think?
recess.
You think?
Yeah, you said you went to all-girls school too?
I went
So
to an all-girls school for high school. Elementary school and junior high, I was in we were all in one building, the whole school, kindergarten to
Yep.
8th grade. And there were maybe 20 kids in my entire class. And we all went to school together the entire time. So it wasn't,
You have no idea then, because junior high to
no.
high school was holy Christ. The people just in this state alone, they're all maniacs. I'm not saying I'm not. I'm just saying everyone's a maniac in this state. Like yeah, right, Sarah. It's like, dude, it was never easy. Like high school and junior high wasn't supposed to be easy, and the older kids would make sure it was not easy on you. I'm dead serious, and the worst part was, like, I can't say that I didn't contribute to that because, like I said,
Yeah.
during senior year, we would take a freshman kid and allegedly, and we would kidnap one each day and take them to the Lincoln Mall, allegedly, and make them wear a wig for an hour.
That's elaborate. We
Allegedly.
just used to
It's
put the
all
freshman girls in their lockers. That was like it.
yeah.
Oh, man, we had you have no I do the story you know the stories I have, it's ridiculous. Sarah Jean, you know where Naughty Park is?
Yes.
Alright. You know the infamous art festival that they have there every year?
Yes.
The Art Festival.
I'm
The
saying
Art
that
Festival.
I'm
And
saying like
Naughty
that
Park.
for a reason.
Naughty Park is spelled Notte for everybody.
Naughty.
Okay, I was wondering if it was that or if it was
naughty, or
NAUGHTY.
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 Naughty
I was like,
Park, what it
naughty. What's
says.
everyone doing there? Can I go?
No,
Like,
Notte.
okay.
All right. You just made me forget what I was talking about. Well, the
No
Art
way.
Festival. No, I'm back. So listen to me. Here's one of my greatest accomplishments, and this is like literally, if people ask me greatest accomplishment in life, this will be in my top 3, top 5.
Wow.
90, 99, 90, 91, maybe allegedly, or let me say 2000, 2003, could have been, in the future. Here's the point. They had a perfect wooden, like, sandwich board sign that was like 10 feet high, dude. It looked like it was like really worth something because it was really well done. It said North Providence Art Festival, all this stuff. Someone had the juvenile sense of humor to spray paint an F in the same color on both sides of the wooden board and would drive by it just to see what their masterpiece was every day as much as they could and would laugh every time they rode by the North Providence Art Festival.
Oh my God. That is probably the funniest thing.
Dude, here's the thing. I know for a fact that a lot of people drove by that and found that funny. Like, I know a lot.
I would have.
Because we made it look, someone made it look allegedly just like the regular font.
The font.
Oh, Christ almighty, fit in so perfect. Because the font had a dot, like it would come down and every letter had a dot on it.
In those days, you could have gotten a disposable camera and taken a picture.
Yeah.
Right? That's the thing.
Could have done it underwater if you wanted to.
Oh, they had those too.
Yeah.
Listen. Freedom of nobody watching back in the day was so easily given up, and that's awful. Like it was so much fun.
Yeah.
I'm so glad.
All the time.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Oh, thank
nothing's
God.
been documented when I was a kid.
Thank God.
Exactly.
There were no camera phones until after college, I think.
No texting that you could save it. No cloud.
Nope.
All right. So here's the thing. Junior, senior year, me, maybe some of my friends, whatever. We would do really stupid juvenile things to
Shocker.
just to see
Yeah,
what
you
we
don't do
could do.
those now? You don't
Yeah,
do
I'm shocked.
But here's the thing, you could get away with the dumbest things in the world. There was no cameras, like, kids don't even see
but
what I'm saying. What? But what?
but nowadays when you do dumb things, you entertain the masses with the dumb shit that you do because it's now
Yeah.
it's on it goes viral, it's on Reels, it's on Instagram, it's like and
But can
then,
you imagine some of these idiots trying to get jobs in like 10 years?
That's my point. That's my point.
yeah,
Some of the stuff that's on the internet, like it's like,
I
oh
know.
God, I keep telling the boys, I'm like, just nothing too big. Like, if you ever want to have a serious job someday, just
Keep
So
your yeah,
so
keep your
don't.
nose clean.
so just this is juvenile, but I'll be real quick. It's a little bit gross.
Shocker again. Oh, and
Uh,
gross. Okay.
so, maybe someone I knew, refilled a very fine apple jar.
Mm.
To refill it, you know what I mean by that, right?
Very fine
Apple jar,
juice.
they pop,
Holy
and it was a
shit.
glass bottle about yay big.
Mhm.
So then I'll
Mhm.
say that was refilled by somebody, you're refilling
With
it.
pee.
Yes,
Yeah.
maybe.
Never
Uh,
heard of that
and
before in my entire life.
Yeah.
maybe you saw a
Sorry, Gina.
janitor find it, allegedly, and
And
then
smell
start
it?
yelling out, "It's warm! God damn it, it's warm! I know it is!" Right? Now
All I can hear is the janitor from The Simpsons doing that. It's
now,
warm.
eh, say you did that say you did that 8 days in a row to that janitor.
Why
Say
would that
because
janitor keep
You
picking up
ruined
that
his
bottle?
life with urine.
Why would they
eh,
Find
keep
a
picking up the bottle?
what?
find a toilet.
It was a new bottle every day, and he would yell out, "It's warm. It's warm, I'm telling you." He was losing his mind, like, he was trying to figure out, like, who these pea ninjas were that were, somehow he turned
How
around.
how dehydrated were these pea ninjas that it looked like apple juice? Because that sounds like the bigger issue.
No, it's not that. It's just that
Yeah, right? If they're the same
these
color.
ninjas were psychotic in their level of stupidity to go to, the level of what you go to. Now, to
Ugh.
bring it back to, a diary, how far in you'll go
This is
to it. Now,
Paranormal
wait,
101, how
I'm coming
to
back
pee in an
I'm
apple
coming
juice
back
Wow.
to being
jar.
I'm coming back to being a witch. You have to be completely in it. You have to follow up on it. You have to go
Nice
with it. You
try.
have but no, this is 100% true though. I don't think everyone just has it, especially being a medium, stuff like that. I think
I don't
everyone
say that
wants
everybody's a
it,
medium.
but I'm just saying in general, both those things, a lot of people want that. They want that
Mhm.
Mhm.
so fucking bad, right?
Yeah,
And
they
some
do.
people, they just don't, and it's like, we all have limitations, we have to. Although we can't all be all the same of everything, like, our levels of what we can get can't be the same. It just can't
No.
we can't all have that, so, that's why when I hear people say, like, everyone has this,
Mhm.
again, it's like saying everyone can, like, whatever, blink, I don't know, just because it is, but some people know how to use it
Mhm.
and dealing with the dark side. If you don't have a dark side, I don't trust you. Like, anyone that is like, "Oh, yeah, no, oh, nothing bad happened," no, and you're just like, That's
You are
not."
so full of shit.
Nobody
Yeah.
can be all love and light 100%
No,
of the
and
time, 7 days a week,
you
365.
you do see those folks that pop up and they don't do their proper protections and they don't do you know what I mean? And like
Mhm.
they don't last.
Mhm.
So you have to embrace both. You have to
Right.
embrace the good, you have to embrace the bad, you have to find where you are in the throes of both of those areas and
Mhm.
say like this is what I'm up to. Every day is different, but if you trust that there's a process and you trust that there's a purpose or a plan for you, then there you go. But the love and light, it's sort of like the gateway drug. That's how people get started. They get started with the Reiki and the oracle cards and stuff. And it doesn't mean that you can't get effective with those things, but it just means that it's easy and it brings you some clarity. And then you get hit with somebody, who's going to give you all of your garbage back to you. And you're like, well, what the heck? And that's the point.
Mhm.
You have to see that.
Yeah. You gotta do it the proper way. There's no shortcuts. And Reiki, why is Reiki so freaking expensive? Is that everywhere or just in Florida?
No, it's I mean, it's very dependent on the level of who you go to because it does take some study to do
Right.
that, but it's energetic, so it's an energetic exchange. So literally somebody is taking their energy and helping you with yours. So it's a service. It's like somebody who gives you a massage, you're going to pay them a lot more money for what you're getting out of it. So
All right.
depending on who it is.
And hopefully they're legit, because it's like, or I'm paying $230 an hour for.
You can always vet them.
That's true.
And make sure.
You should. That's for,
So
not your Reiki people.
Here's the thing with Reiki, right? It's that like, if you've ever been in the hospital, sometimes someone comes by, like some nurse that's practicing or going to school still, and they tell you they practice Reiki, and they're like, "Would you like me to try it?" And I've always been like, "No, nope, no," because like the thing is like, here's the thing: if
tell me what
I don't want this person doing this, this is not going to be any kind of a good experience for either one of us. Like, in other words, I don't want you to rub my stomach.
You don't know that. No, I touch your stomach.
I don't. But here's the thing. Like, in other words, I'm like, that's what I don't want you to. I don't want to do this. Like,
Mike, I think that it's possible you were just molested at the hospital. That somebody came in and just started rubbing
your stomach. Nobody wants to touch your stomach.
It doesn't sound.
I had surgery on my stomach. I had surgeries on my stomach, and that's where the scar tissue.
Okay. You didn't say it. Well, you just said they came in and started rubbing your stomach.
Yeah, why do I have to tell you why they were rubbing?
When you have a child, they rub your stomach. That's for sure. Ouch.
Because if there's no reason for your stomach to be touched and someone just randomly is rubbing your stomach, it's a whole different.
Do you have a baby in there?
It's just.
I wasn't in a strip mall. I was in the hospital.
Baby.
You know what I mean? Like I wasn't. This wasn't like there wasn't like a liquor store, tattoo place. This place. I was in the hospital. Oh, can you stay with me on this? Hospital. And it's happened on more than one occasion. They've walked in and like, hey, can I offer you Reiki? And
I've never had this happen. Like, I wish somebody would do this, but I've never had this happen.
It's a form of healing. So
yeah,
it's energetic healing. And so you didn't want it. That's totally fine. But it probably would have helped your stomach.
And then the priest that comes in and says, would you
want to pray with me?
Yeah, like to pray with me. And I'm like, all right. No, you know what? Here's the thing.
You say yes to that?
Every older,
all the help I can get.
Every older priest,
better.
I have to listen. Every older priest, I have like a built-in, like I literally will say, sure, Father. Like it just still comes out. It just still comes out. And for the record, priests get the worst rap. Period.
Like, I wonder why.
Well, because all right, but can someone just ever say that most priests just don't do that? There's a lot of priests out there that don't do that. But
how do you know?
There's a lot
because you don't know. Because you don't know.
You don't know but anybody. You don't know but
speculate. So it's easier to say nothing at this moment about priests than to validate or vindicate them.
I like priests. How about that? Can I say that? Can I say that I like priests?
You can like priests, yeah.
Can I like America? Can I like America? Priests?
America? America? You like America?
Cars that use gas. Can I like those three things? Listen, my point is.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, you can.
If it's an older priest, I will
get her done.
Respect, and I will listen to what he has to say. I don't have to agree with him, but
right
now.
So my thing is, and I'm going to go down a Mike hallway and say, my thing is, I couldn't trust somebody who's never had sex at that age. Like, what do you know what I mean? Like,
I don't buy it. I don't buy.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
We don't know.
We don't know.
That's what, in my mind, I'm like, I don't know.
That's where the Anglican Church has it right.
Guys.
Yes.
Guys.
Mm-hmm. So Henry VIII created his own thing, and he was like,
Here's a news break for you, right?
His wives really sacrificed.
Just for the record, and I'll go on the record saying this: they all participate. They don't go through life without having. That's baloney. We actually had a priest. This is no joke. I keep saying this. Who showed up for like confirmation class with his thing undone? He drove a Corvette.
His collar, not his pants. Correct.
His collar was just undone. He's a good-looking guy, right? Driving a Corvette. Showing up, walking into the room to teach us, doesn't even bother to pin it and like be the priest. He's just like, hey, it's like,
like a little pimp.
I mean, it can be normal.
Hey.
normal and you don't know. You don't know. They don't have to wear a
Oh,
collar all the time. It's not like
What
tattoo.
happened?
you know what?
What happened to the show? What happened?
This guy
It
talked
went.
to all the moms.
It's
This
Mike.
guy
That's
talked.
what
It was
happened.
Mike. And the thing is that if I did this, I'd be in HR.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm glad you didn't, because
I don't know what you're talking about. That was a very interesting conversation. And I'll say this. Again, I think my problem is with anything is that the people that jump on it, they just I can't stand them because they
oh, you
do.
mean witchcraft? Okay.
Yes,
Woo!
they don't do anybody
Okay,
any
we're
help.
back to other things. I was like, what's he talking about now?
No,
We're talking about
witchcraft.
priest pants, and I'm like, what?
Witchcraft goes back. Witchcraft goes back forever, forever. It's just
Yes.
got a long,
No kidding.
lineage. All right, so that means it's been going, but like the dawn of the internet, the dawn of all this stuff. There's so much
Well, let me just give
around
you a little
now.
synopsis so
Go
that you
ahead.
can
No,
understand.
this
Okay.
is good.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. So we, as like we know things to history repeats itself. We know that is true, right?
Mhm.
So history within fashion, history in socio and economic kind of mindsets, all of that
Yep.
stuff, right? That the whole idea that history repeats itself. So at one time, yes, this was part of the existence of the world, and then obviously, and we're going back to the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church had a lot to say about why it was so bad. So for a long, long time, hundreds and hundreds of years, it was put on the back burner, and people who associated with witchcraft or superstition or hysteria, in a feminine sense of hysteria, right?
Mhm.
Everything that could not be explained by the Catholic Church or by any sort of monotheistic kind of mindset was put to the side, and you couldn't do that.
Mhm.
Right? Which
Yep.
nowadays, obviously, history repeats itself. So nowadays, yes, with the advent of social media and witch talk and everything else and books and everything,
Yep.
like it's more accepted now, but
Mhm.
it was at one time, and now our mindsets are different. So you had said something earlier I wanted to touch on, as and Sarah, this is you I'm talking about. Um, what happens within our lives is we go through phases every cycles of change every 7 to 13 years. So we
Okay.
start to question our existence or where we're at or why our parents do this or why do we have to go to church on Christmas Eve, from the ages of 7 to 13. For women, because our bodies change hormonally and we
Mm.
go into getting all of our periods and everything, then things start to really change for us, and we really start to doubt and think about where we are, which is why you will see a lot of younger folks kind of adhering to this mindset
Mhm.
because they're looking for something different. Whether or not they continue with it is totally different, but that's why you'll see a whole lot of people go through these changes of the cycle of change every 7 to 13 years where they will kind of reinvent themselves. And this, for a lot of people within our age group, whether you're
Oops.
Generation X or
Keep
you're
talking.
millennial, no problem, or you're on the cusp of that 7 to 13 years is happening now. So you will see a lot of people steeped in this ideal.
I got a question though.
You got it.
When did women only have hormones?
I said hormonal changes, dude, where they get their periods. Did you
All
not
right.
hear me?
Yeah, but do guys don't go through
They
hormonal?
do, but your bodies change differently than ours do. You don't bleed.
It's a pretty dramatic. I don't know. I'm not even going
I
into this
don't think
with
that
him.
men,
I give up.
honestly, right, but I think between you and me, Sarah, I don't think that men go through the same life-changing, questionable things at the same ages because we know, they mature in a different fashion. Doesn't mean that their bodies don't change, but they mature differently. So we're thinking about things so different at that age point, but it just makes sense. He's like, no.
Yeah,
Because
no,
you're doing
because
it again.
the thing is, no, but listen, Mike, she's right. Because when a woman gets her period, she realizes for the first time that she's physically capable of being a mother, and our bodies are preparing us to give life and grow a freaking human, which
Mhm.
is so different and
It's
so
so
much more
mind
dramatic.
it's so mind blowing to you. Like It doesn't
Yeah.
happen for men in the same way, and it's just
Mm-mm.
it is scientifically that's what happens.
All right.
So
Yep.
what I'm saying is that we start to think differently if you look at those cycles of change. For instance, a lot of people are in our age group kind of look towards this Wicca or witchcraft, especially at the ages 13, 14, 15, 16, right?
Mhm.
And then you get stuck in school and what you're supposed to do in society and
Mhm.
college, if that's where you're going, and you kind of lose it. And some people
Yep.
get back to it. And I think,
Right.
Sarah, you kind of alluded to that or said that earlier, where a
Mhm.
lot of people had it, but they might have lost it and now they come back.
Right. Absolutely. Which is my story, basically. You
Yes.
know, you
You were
lose
told
it, and
no. Yes.
I was literally told no, and I was always a child who found my greatest peace. Like, I would just go off into the woods by myself and talk to the trees and the animals, and everyone thought I was crazy. And maybe I was. But, yeah, then you get caught up in school, and then you become a mom, and just
Mhm.
all the things that go with it. And
Right.
I think it's fine for women that are our age or my age to now be making big changes in our life and deciding what's best for us. My kids are almost grown, so post like having small children, and now
Yep.
I'm single again, and big changes are just inevitable.
Right. And so with that, we gravitate to what makes us feel good. And if that
Comforted.
means that this ideal of witchcraft or the ideal of centering yourself or finding self peace within, if it is that journaling that you talked about, or hanging out with the trees, or, writing a song or whatever it is, you get back to what
Mhm.
makes you feel good. So you have to go through that change, that uncomfortableness to get to where you need to be. That's the whole
Right.
premise of what this is. And witchcraft, for what that it is, yeah, we do rituals, but we do rituals all the time in normal society, right? We sing happy birthday.
We all
We
just decorated the Christmas tree.
we decorated this thing behind me, right? We have
Yeah.
pets that we love like children, right?
Mhm.
They don't have a job in our life but to make us feel happy. Mike's
Right.
gonna explode.
No,
He is. It's
I'm deciding whether to just not say what I'm thinking.
Go with that. Go with that. Just
No,
go with
no,
that.
I'm not
Because
going
we're
to. I'm gonna
talking.
no, no, no. Well, first of all, it's like I'm getting kind of tired of like women patting themselves on the back for things they accomplished or go through and not realizing that maybe guys go through similar things.
No
Hey,
one said that men don't go
wait,
through it.
you don't get to interject. I finished, then you talk because I let you talk. So listen, when you're a guy, and you start to have, first of all, I'll agree that we mature much slower than females. I can actually
Uh-huh.
have proof of that. I have a study lab in my house where I have a 20-year-old and a 20-year-old, and one's way more mature than the other one. And I know that to be back in my life. But however, when you go through puberty as a guy, the flooding thoughts, the nonstop pinpoint thoughts become
Yeah.
something you've never dealt with before. You never had that on your plate. You never had to deal with that. And that comes like
Mhm.
this. So we go through our own whole change of, oh my
Right.
God, what are my priorities? Like maybe basketball doesn't mean as much anymore. There's a lot of weird moments for guys that make them go, oh Jesus, what did I do? Like, so don't dismiss us
Okay.
on not at all.
I
But
You're not
you
being
guys are here,
absolutely
we're
you're
here, but we're
not
definitely
being
in the game.
dismissed.
I absolutely will take that into consideration the next time because you're right. You're absolutely right. But what I'm saying is it's not indicative to what you associate as or what you're born as, but as intuition is a how do I say this without being okay, I'm just going to say it. So intuition, the way that we think about it is kind of tapping into that feminine energy. I deal with tarot cards, the magician, who's a very masculine looking figure, is the manifester. He's the provider. He does things for himself. He utilizes
Mhm.
all the tools on his table to make his life what it is. The high priestess is his counterpart. She's a priestess. It's a
Mhm.
feminine energy. She doesn't say anything. She uses her intuition to do things. So if we look at things, right, and if we kind of say people who are healers, doesn't matter what part they have, but they have this feminine quality, or they tap into this feminine energy. Nurses, they take care of us. The doctors will say this is what you need, and then the nurses are the ones who wipe our asses, right?
Mhm.
Or you will see male nurses, but they're not gonna they don't have the same quality because they're caretakers, mothers, childcare, any sort of those kind of people are healers by nature. And so that is more of a feminine, that's where we tap into. So when I say that, we go through these mind altering experiences at 13, 14, 15 years old, it's that feminine energy that I can speak to, but it doesn't mean what parts, and it also it doesn't negate what you go through as well, because you're right. We're trained, or it's ingrained within our DNA instinctually what happens. So if you're
Right.
already thinking my priorities are different because of basketball, we're thinking like everything's been told to me from this moment forward, but everything's a fucking lie,
Yeah.
right? And I need something that makes sense to me, right? So I guess if you look at it, it's kind of, it's not linear, but it's very congruent to what happens to male and female.
It absolutely is. And I wasn't trying to dismiss the experience or the hormones, Mike. I'm just saying physiologically with the maidenhood and then motherhood and then the crone, that the biological changes are very dramatic, and the changes that actually, can happen to our bodies with actually having to give birth. So it's a very physically outward, like you can see it, you know what I mean? Dramatic change.
Right. And it's
Because we
scary.
bleed and we bleed,
It's
and then
scary.
it physically manifests like visually, and it can be a bit of a mind fuck.
I
I didn't mean to dismiss you.
I 100% believe that the whole female thing is much worse because you guys think about things way more.
Well, that's a given.
But
Mhm.
if you leave 7th grade at 5'2" and you come back to 8th grade at 5'8", there's a lot of changes that happened.
Yeah.
A lot
Right.
of things went down. A lot of your body is completely different, right?
Mhm.
That was me, 6 inches from 7th to 8th grade over that summer. Like, just being 5'8" in my family made me the tallest
I'm trying
Italian
to
in my
think.
family.
I think I did that also.
The
The
8th.
end of 7th grade into 8th grade, I grew like 2 cup sizes.
I don't remember that. I just
That was a
remember
big
from 8th grade to 9th grade, I got like all of a sudden attractive to boys. That's all I remember. It was
Yeah.
like
Like high school.
nothing, and they were throwing rocks at me. And then by 9th grade, it was like you can't get them off your front porch. Like,
Yeah.
so.
Let me explain this hellhole really quickly before we wrap things up. Junior high, 7th and 8th grade had its own building. It was just the 7th and 8th graders that were in
Mhm.
this whole
We
building.
have that too. We have that too.
But that means if you're the 7th grade, you're getting beat up because the 8th graders are there, and it's like the 8th graders are so cool, and the 8th graders are all this. It was terrifying. It really was. It was just it was like that. But back to this witch thing.
My head hurts.
No, really
You
quick.
have to let the
For
lash
people
go.
for people that are interested in witchcraft,
We'll have to do
the
this again,
idea, the
Sarah.
history of it,
Yeah, we need a.
where would you send them? What could you say as a website or a book or someplace to go get for information
You
more?
put me on the spot. Well, there's a multitude of different, like I said, I deal a lot with tarot. It's not witchcraft per se, but there are people that I would absolutely look into reading when it comes to any sort of divination like tarot. So Rachel Pollack is one of them. Teresa Reed is another one. There's there's just different ways that you can. Madame Pamita is another one. There's different ways that you can look into what your craft looks like. It doesn't have to be a form of divination, but I feel like it helps to kind of have that in your background to understand that even though we're here, we're humans, we're in this meat sack, the whatever, there's still something that goes around or happening around us on different planes, and we are connected to those entities that kind of come through. So
Sarah,
whether
again.
whether it
Go.
is in that paranormal sense or whether it is that you're getting the affirmations from your loved ones, i.e. numbers, cardinals, songs, whatever it looks like to you, we have to kind of agree that there, as above as so below, it's always going to be
Mhm.
a flow of energy. It doesn't necessarily have to be one thing and only one thing. So don't go home, smoke your Marlboro Reds, drink your Bud Heavies, and just watch reruns of Friends, because that's all you're going to get in life.
But do burn your diary.
Burn
Okay,
your
do burn
diary.
your diary.
If you want to set the intention that you don't want to go back in time, and you want something new and you want to get rid of all of those old feelings, burn the bitch.
Yep.
I'm just gonna keep it long enough until I know that I learned my lesson, and then I'll burn it.
And then
I'll burn it.
Yep.
But, yeah.
Imagine you're gonna wait till you learn your lesson. That's none of us will. None of us are gonna pull that off. We don't learn
a very specific.
You'll have that book forever.
Yes, a very pointed lesson.
A very pointed lesson, which hopefully does not take me a lifetime to learn.
No, it's not going to.
But I wanted to tell you, like, I need to talk to you. I found a Labyrinth tarot deck. I don't know how to read tarot.
Oh,
but I love Labyrinth, and it's so fucking beautiful.
Me of the babe. Yes. Yes.
What babe?
Babe with the power.
What power? We could go on forever. Voodoo? You do.
Do what?
Remind
me of the
babe.
Remind me
of the babe.
What just happened?
Nothing.
You've never seen Labyrinth?
Was that a glitch?
Labyrinth. With David Bowie?
I know I know Jim Henson.
Where's Waldo, baby?
I know Jim Henson.
Yeah. Toby, his name was. Toby the baby.
Toby, yes.
That to me wasn't fun. I didn't like that movie.
That's one of my favorite movies.
Did you like Neverending Story then?
Oh, of course. Of course.
I can't with the horse though. Oh,
the Neverending Story is fantastic. First off, it's one of the greatest movies of my kiddom. But the problem with Labyrinth was that it was very evident that it was made by the Muppets and voiced by.
What's wrong with the Muppets?
And the princess, her name is Sarah.
So Sarah Friend. Yep.
Sarah Friend. Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with the Muppets. I happen to love the Muppets. I guess as a kid, I didn't want to see the Muppets be evil.
They weren't evil.
Well,
no, they were. Have you seen The Dark Crystal then?
Oh, I love Dark Crystal.
That's the first one.
Have you seen?
I saw
Fraggles. Remember a trash person in Fraggles? Come on now.
Yeah. She was actually like a.
She was the
medium. She was like a medium.
Yeah, she was. I'm the trash person.
Trash medium.
What was her name?
Oh, Miss, I don't know, Pat Stack of Leaves. I have no idea, but it was just a stack of leaves that would come to life when the ogres or whatever they would call it, those big dumb look. Those guys are great. I hired those for parties, just walk around big and dumb. That's all I got for this show. Sarah P, would you like to add anything in the wrap up?
If anybody's still watching, which they're not, like and subscribe. And make sure you watch Sarah's show on Tuesdays at 8:05. The Witch is in. And yeah, Sarah, please come back so we can talk about
maybe just you and me.
I was thinking that. Sarah, you got to come on the new. So we're doing a dating show starting next year.
I'm still on the show, by the way. I'm still here. I just want to let you guys know you're talking about me, but I'm still here. And you can tell her about this show after the wrap up, which would be great because then I'd get the wrap
Siri
up.
wants in. You hear her? Siri wants in.
All right, wrap it up. No one's watching. Just wrap it up.
The guest just said, yeah, we should do it again, just the two of us. During the show, so I gotta wrap it up. I'm losing control of the boat. For Sarah G, the legit witch MD, for Sarah Parah Normal, it's me, Michael King Mike L. This was Legit Paranormal 101, brought to you by Legit Podcast.com. Thank you for tuning in. We won't see you again till Sunday morning.